chairman of the Universal Greening Organization. So the Universal Greening Organization is an entity that was started by students from the University of Venda in 2014, entirely just to assist students to get access to environmental opportunities. So we are currently 10 years old. We're based in Midrand, and we also have got presence in all provinces of this country, but also our offices are in Venda. We focus entirely on education and awareness for communities. We focus on project management, we focus on skills development, but also we have got this Universal Greening Network, which was created entirely to assist people to get opportunities, but also to get lessons from experts with regards to different subjects. We understand that we are in conservation, but we believe that conservation alone is not enough. One must also learn the soft skills. That is why today we invited Mulalo, who is a financial credit provider who is accredited to provide lessons and teachings around finance. So we invited her to come and share with us financial literacy, but entirely to ensure that as we run our businesses, as we run our NPOs, as we run our everyday life as individuals, we are able to understand how we use our money, we understand how we spend our money, but also the other areas that talks to budgeting and other skills. I don't want to get into that a lot because I am not an expert. I have got Mulalo here. Mulalo, how are you?
Good afternoon. I'm very well, thanks. And how are you? And greetings to everyone that's joining in.
Thank you so much. Mulalo, I was just introducing the team that we have got you here, who is an accredited financial advisor. And we believe that today you're going to take us through your presentation around financial literacy, entirely just to ensure that as we are running our programs, like I indicated, we are running the Universal Greening Organization, and part of what we have as the Universal Greening Organization is the Universal Greening Network. This network has different people. It has professionals, it has people who are running NGOs, it has people who are running their SMMEs. But we believe that as much as we are building environmental related businesses, we also need to have soft skills. And that's why we brought you today, so that you can pass through what is financial literacy and what are the things that we need to do to ensure that at least we manage our finances right and ensure that we become better in our own institutions. I'm not going to waste time. I'll hand it over to you so that if you do have a presentation, you can then take us through. And when you are done with your presentation, I'll open the platform for everyone who is in the meeting to then ask a few questions if they need to get clarity on certain things that you have presented. I'll then hand over to you now, Mulalo.
Okay, thank you very much. And once again, welcome to everyone that's joining us on today's session. My name is Mulalo Nemataheni. I am a certified financial planner and a proud member of the FPI, which is the Financial Planning Institute of Southern Africa. And as FPI, we've got a program that we call My Money 123, which focuses on financial education, and we say it's financial education for all. So my company is EmpowerX Advisory Services. I'm based in Thohoyandou in Limpopo, and we focus on taking financial literacy education to communities. And yeah, in the past week, we trained 180 people. And this week, we've trained close to 100 people on financial literacy, and we focus on rural areas and also groups of people, whether as part of organizations or within communities. So when it comes to managing money, it's something that is as simple as 1, 2, 3. And most people would say that they struggle when it comes to managing finances. But from today's session, I want us to start by taking off that particular belief that managing money is difficult, that budgeting is undoable. because those things are things that can be done. To start off with, I'll start with a disclaimer to say that this program is purely for financial literacy education. I am not providing with advice or intermediary services. So if you need financial advice, you need to consult with someone who is certified that will assist you, look at your situation, and also be able to give guidance and recommendations that will assist you. So this is all about you. We're going on this financial journey. There is aspects of financial advisors, financial planners, certified financial planners. So as a certified financial planner, we hold the profession highly. We don't even call it an industry because this is a profession, and we've got this CFP pin because when it comes to certified financial planner, we are members of a national, international body where we fall under the Financial Services Board. And then with that, it assists to ensure that everyone who sees this pin, they can see that this pin works together with honesty and integrity, taking you as the client and looking at your goals and needs, and also putting your interest first. So as we start off, you might be asking yourself, where do I start when it comes to financial literacy? Or you might say, I'm already on this journey, and how does this fit in terms of where I am? And I'll start with this quote that says, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you might just find what you need. So you can get what you need. There's needs, there's wants, but sometimes you can't always get what you want. And then this speaks to the people that are in the economics side of things, unlimited needs, limited resources. So now we have to look at what are needs, what are wants, and then how do we prioritize to make sure that we're able to cover those. And as we do our day-to-day planning, I always say that every decision is a financial decision. So even with goals that we would like to reach, there is the goals that we put. We hear about SMART goals, but there's also the aspect of how much is this goal going to cost me? We must be able to look at the financial aspect and impact of this. So we asked, where do I start? There's a personal budget planner that one can look at. And I must tell you that when it comes to financial literacy, it's part of personal financial management when we do financial planning. So there's a world of financial planning where there's personal financial management, there's tax planning, there's retirement planning, investment planning, estate planning, where we look at wills and trust. So those different areas of financial planning assist you to have a proper financial plan that will speak to all those areas that you might be facing when it comes to finances. But personal financial management is where this falls under, where we're looking at financial literacy. And underline the aspect of personal. I want to make this very clear that when it comes to personal financial management, it's personal. We might be getting the same amount of money every single month, but my needs and wants may be different from yours. And then it makes it okay, because that is my journey. That's where I want to spend my money on. That's where I need to spend my money on. But I should be able to tell my money story. We don't want cases where someone would say, I used to have money, I don't know where it went. Most people would say, I don't know what happens to my money, but money always leaves prints. So if you follow where the money went, you'll be able to see that. And the personal budget planner is the one that will assist you to reach that. So it's all about setting it up. It can be on a monthly, weekly, or daily basis. If you're running an organization or running a business that you need to cash up on a daily basis, that is the building block to doing the budget. You can do that daily. Back then, people would even use the slips and then put them in the envelopes and then do the recons. But with us nowadays, even if I just swipe with my card, I'll be able to get my bank statement that will assist me to see where exactly my money is going. So sometimes we say we don't have time to do our budget. Sometimes you just need to take 30 minutes of your time, sit with your bank statements. You can look at the past 2 months. or even 3 months and say, I want to be able to see where my money is going. So this presentation goes hand in hand with a workbook. We'd be happy to share that. As this is not a physical session, we don't have those being distributed, but we're happy to share so that you can see a practical example of how you can do this budget planner and also be able to track your expenses. And as you go through your bank statements, you're able to see what is the story when it comes to my money. So when we do our budgeting, there's also aspects of credit. And then there's always a question of how do I build my credit record? So to start off with, a credit record, that's where if you take on a debt, you become credit active, and then there's a profile that is opened under your name or your ID. And then it's important to have this because now we have a track record of how you handle finances. So if you've got credit, we're able to see, are you able to pay back the credit that you took, or are you a bad payer? And as those things are happening every single month as you repay, we're able to see, okay, if we give Mulalo credit, she will be able to repay us back. Or if we give her, we might struggle to get our money back because Mulalo is a bad payer. So there's a relationship between your credit record and also the interest that you get charged. In terms of my background, I worked in the bank for 8 years before starting my own business in PowerX. So with that, you would have instances where we've got products that we say you can get as little as 13% on a personal loan. And then someone will call you and say, hey, I saw you giving out credit at 13%. And then when we do the application, they get 20-something%. And then they ask why. And then the response is that it's a personalized interest rate where we're looking at your credit record. And then we're also looking at whether you do pay if you're due given credit. So it's critical that you manage your credit record to ensure that the interest that you get is fair and you don't get declined. Some people just get declined right away because they didn't have a proper credit record. So different companies would show you in terms of where you stand when it comes to your credit record. There is a very poor score, there's poor, there's fair, there's good, there's excellent. And depending on how those scores are, or the credit bureau is presenting those scores, you are able to see. But you must strive to be on the green because you are low risk, and then we know that we won't have issues when it comes to repayments of this credit. So you're entitled to one credit report a year from one of the credit bureaus. You can go check out TransUnion, you can check out Experian, CompuScan. So that is what old people know as ITC. So that's where we're checking your credit. There's also Clear Score for some people. I know most people are there on Clear Score, where every month they give you an email to show where your score is and if you've moved some points. But even with that, just make sure that you don't get into credits to build a score that you do not need right now. Some people worry that they don't have a credit score, they don't have a credit record, but if you don't need it, or if you're not going to make a purchase that needs you to have a credit score, it's better to not have credit at all, because once you default, it becomes difficult to build that score once again. And another building block has to do with debts. I want us to go through this so that we can have time to engage, and then if there are questions that are specific, then we can address those. But when it comes to debt is something that will hold you back, and debt, it's something that you use a product or a service, or you even get money, and then there's an agreement that you will pay back this particular amount. But the truth, like I said, debt will hold you back, because with debt, there is interest that you would need to pay back. And the first thing, if you're already in debt, you must ask yourself the question, how did I get here? Because there's different reasons why people get into debt. Other people would say, I'm an impulsive buyer, I'm an impulsive spender. When I face problems, then I go and spend money, and then it's like therapy for them. So if you are that person, I think it allows you to check what is going on. And if you need to find help for particular issues that you're facing, then you find the help that you need. And some people, it might be you lose a job, or you're trying to catch up with the Kumalos or the Jones or the Chitomlomoni, seeing other people buying things, now you want to keep up with them, can also have you end up in debt. So it's critical that you assess, how did I get here, so that we can deal with the root cause of you being in debt. There's the aspect of good debt, bad debt, where sometimes we say debt is good. For example, debt for education, sometimes it's clarified as good debt because there is potential of getting something in return that will assist you to build a future going forward, or buying assets that are going to generate income is usually classified as good debt. Bad debt is like using your credit card to go on holiday, because people are doing that. Sometimes expenses just pop up, and then you're just like, yo, I need to use that overdraft, that credit card. As you do that, you need to understand how the product itself works, and also the cost of that particular credit that you are using to think. All the time, as you're about to make a transaction, however big and small, you must pause and think, because you must be able to see, how does this affect my balance sheet? Am I ending up in debt, or am I getting out of debt by processing this particular payment? So you need to make sense of your debt. See, who do you owe, how much you owe them, and how much this is costing you on a month-to-month basis. So with debt repayment, it's not just the debt capital that you pay back. The installment could cover fees, insurance. Usually credit life insurance is attached to debt. And then there's also interest as well, and then the repayment for the debt itself. To give as an example, when I was doing my postgrad in 2016, I used a credit card to pay for my studies. One course was like 6,230. I still remember that amount. Like, I would do that transaction and I felt like I was robbed, but I was now in debt, and then I needed to repay it. And I was paying the normal installment that they needed. And one day I looked at my credit card statement. I was just like, oh my goodness, because you could be paying 1,000 Rand and only 300 Rand going to repay the debt, and then the other one covering fees, costs, and insurance. So I would say to anyone who is here and then you've got a debt, find out how much interest you're being charged on that particular debt. And also, when you make this particular repayment, how much exactly is going into paying for the debt itself. You could be owing 20,000 today and paying 1,000 Rand a month, and then you might think, okay, in the next 20 months, I should be done with this credit. But when you look at the details of the credit, you might be left with 30 months to go, to say that the other 10 months that you're paying, that 10,000 could be interest that you are paying on that particular debt. So checking your debt statements and contracts usually does better in terms of sobering you up. So even if you just had a night out, if you come back, sit, focus on your finances, see how much debt is costing you, you will quickly sober up and make the right decisions. So we talked about good debt, bad debt. Some of the things, it's things that you are told you are pre-approved and you didn't even apply for. Most of the time when we log into the banking app, the first thing that you see, they even highlight it in red or in orange so that you see it, it pops up. You qualify for 50,000 personal loan, and you're like, yo. So those are ways in which they want you to get into debt. And they can say temporary loan, you can get 5,000 straight away. And then those are things that if you just click and click and click, then the money is in your account. But you must be aware of why are they giving me this money and what is the cost for this particular transaction that I'm getting into. So that aspect of pause and think will assist you when you are presented with these pre-approvals that you don't need. Loan sharks, they are there everywhere. And then if you calculate the interest that you get to pay, even these payday loans, if you get to calculate, you'll see that you are losing so much money that you could be using to build your wealth, to build your organization, and also creating a legacy for your children. So always pause and think as you make these transactions. Coming back to the cost of credit, we must be able to calculate how much really this is costing us, because sometimes you see an advertisement like this, there's the amount of, this is how much it's going to cost cash price, but this is how much you would pay on a month-to-month basis. Usually the month-to-month basis is usually on a higher font. We want you to see it. We want you to see that it's on sale. And then we hide all these other things. But on this particular one, you could be spending 4.8 if you're buying it cash, but on credit, you could end up paying 7,608 rand. So this is you now paying 156% compared to how much you would have paid had you paid it in cash. So it's not just on laptops, TV, phone contracts, different things. Sometimes you end up even paying double the amount that you would have paid because you're choosing to pay for it on credit. So these are just examples of some of the things that we end up buying on credit without realizing how much we can end up paying. And even with cell phone contracts, when we're done with this session, if you've got a cell phone contract, check how much you're paying, how long the contract is, multiply, and then you'll see exactly how much you end up paying for this. And then to calculate this, it's very simple. So it's this installment amount, how much you're paying, multiplied by the repayment term in terms of the number of months, and then you divide that by the purchase price of the item. So it will tell you how much more on the percentage, the 100% of the product cost in cash, now you'll end up paying compared to if you had just bought the product cash. So this just shows how the total costs come about, and then also what the cost of this credit is going to be on your side. And if we do this small exercise every time we're faced with a decision to buy on credit, we'll be able to see that it's easier to just save up for something and then pay for it cash. And then I spoke about making sense of your debt earlier on, and this is a very good exercise that one can get into to see which debt is more expensive, and then also calculate when you'll be free of debt, and also understand how much outstanding you had in your debt. So you name the debt, how much you're owing, the interest rate, the monthly repayment, and then also the remaining terms that you need to cover that particular debt. So this one, you include everything, everyone, even the money that you owe your parents. I know we do that at times where we ask our parents for money and say we'll pay them back when we get paid, and then it's like we never get paid. So that debt just continues. Sometimes we do that with friends, with colleagues at work. There's always that person that knows that a week before payday, that's the hardest year of the month, because it feels like the whole year that week just before payday. But if you make sure that you write down all your debts and then you plan accordingly, and then you do your budget, you're able to cater for that week as well, because it puts you in a better position because you'll be more financial literate. The other building block that we'll cover is savings and investments. So on this one, there is cash, there is savings, there is investments. And then as we do this, we must look at the risk and the returns that are linked to the particular investment that we are taking into. Savings is something that's for short term, and then investments is something that's on the long term. And then when we're talking savings and investments, that's where we get a better understanding of the interest, and then also get to understand inflation. So risk return over time, there is different building blocks or asset classes where you can choose to invest your money. So just like how you would want to know where your child is sleeping as a parent, even when it comes to money, you must know where your money is sleeping. So some people would complain about a particular asset manager or financial institution that they've invested money in, and they will say, don't invest money with these people, but not going into details to say where exactly in that institution is money invested, because money could be sitting in cash products, could be sitting with bonds, could be in property, shares, equity, or offshore investments. And then when we talk unit trust as one of the investments, we've got fund managers that assist in putting this together to say 40% will be on cash and then 60% will be on shares. Or they have funds where they can say 100% is on shares. So you know, even with the risk that is associated with this particular investment, it's even higher. So as you invest, if you're investing in unit trust, you must find time to also learn and be able to read the fund fact sheet, because every time, every month, they give an update to say this particular fund has performed like this, and then this is the drawdown on the fund, and then this is some of the ratios that are given. They would assist you to determine, is my money safe? Just like how you would want to know where your child is sleeping so that you can determine, is my child safe? So when it comes to investments, it's critical that we understand it's not the higher the risk, the higher the return. It's the higher the risk, the higher the potential return, because you might make money or you might lose money, but depending on where the money is invested and the risk that you're willing to take as an investor, you must also have the time within the market to be able to stand and make more on that regard. With interest, there's simple interest where the money that you've invested is the one that earns the interest, but there's also compound interest where the interest itself also earns interest. This particular example is showing someone that's starting to invest 1,000 Rand a month for 10 years, and then they stop investing. When they stop investing, they continue growing their money, and after 30 years, they've got 1.5 million. This is using a 10% interest rate, and then if investor 2 only starts at year 10, and then they're investing 1.5 a month, after 30 years, they could end up with 1.1 million, though they have invested more, because now they're investing 1.5 instead of 1,000 Rand per month for someone that invested just for 10 years and then they stop. This one invested in year 10 for 20 years. So with this example, it's just to say, even when you are saving for retirement, it's critical that you start early, because even when you stop investing, your money continues growing, and then it also earns interest on the interest that you earn. So sometimes people, when you ask about inflation, sometimes they confuse it with interest, but inflation is the increase in terms of the prices, general things that we buy. So here it's an example where in 2019, money could buy you a few things, but 2020, you buy lesser things, 2021, lesser things. I'm sure now in 2024, if we're using the same amount of money, you can end up with one tin of baked beans. You would see that even the price of bread, it's just unbelievable. That is inflation, because if you look back when you were still younger, you could buy bread for less, but now you need 20 Rand, 22 Rand to just buy one loaf of bread. So that is inflation. And then we need to make sure that as we invest our money, we invest in products and investments that are giving us returns that are above inflation. So sometimes 200 Rand could fill a trolley, sometimes half a trolley. Now, if I go into a shop with 200 Rand, it's just one plastic bag. So that is inflation once again explained. And short-term, medium-term, long-term goals. So if you want to save for something, it's critical that we determine when we want to achieve it so that we can channel those funds and also choose investments and savings that will assist us to achieve those particular goals. There's emergencies that may show up, so it's critical that you have a retirement, an emergency fund, and also save money for retirement. And if you're running your organizations and businesses, you might be asking yourself, how much do I need for retirement? The question is answered with another question to say, what lifestyle do you want in retirement? Some people at retirement, they want to be traveling, they want to live in bigger houses, and other people want to do that now when they're still younger. So it depends on people. Some people, they say, I want to do all these things now, and other people want to do it when they're at retirement. And this slide is very important for someone who is about to start on the journey of saving for retirement, to say, how much do I need to save towards retirement, depending on your age. And then if you want to replace 75% of your income, this gives you percentage to say, if you're 25, at least 17% should be saved. And then that will assist you to replace 75% of your income. But if you start later on in life, then you might have to start with a higher percentage to be able to cover 75% of your income. So it's never too early. It's never too late to start saving for retirement. We might have people here close to their 50s, 60s. It's critical that you start saving and investing. And if you are running organizations and if you are running businesses, financial literacy allows you to do proper budgets, credit management, and then analyzing decisions, and then also help you grow the business. And lastly, it gives you control. And record keeping, that's where everything starts, where you're able to keep records of how everything is going. And for those in business, financial statements, it's got 5 different aspects: the balance sheet, the income statement, the cash flow, statement of changes and equity, and also the notes. So as you get your financials, you must make sure that all these things are included, because it helps tell the story in terms of what is happening within the business itself. So coming to an end, or just to state that going forward, I would advise that when it comes to financial literacy, get your monthly budget in order. And then if you've got debt, reduce and manage your debt. Improve on your savings and set goals, short-term, medium-term, and longer-term goals, because that will assist you. Consider estate planning. It's not something for the rich, white, old. It's for everyone. And if you're sitting here and you don't have a will in place, I think it's time that you consider having that conversation with your financial planner. And even with the banks, they're happy to assist you with wills. And in September, there will be a free wills month where people will be doing those wills for you for free. And for me, I know wills are free throughout the year, so there's no excuse. You can get your will drafted at no cost, and then you become a client when you pass on. So you must also do the exercise to check, is my insurance adequate? Do I have enough insurance? And then also take time to have these conversations with your children about money, have them know about this. And then you also welcome to visit the Let's Plan website to get more information, because sometimes you might be wanting to make a decision about buying a house, for example, buying a car. So the things that you need to consider, take care of, budgeting templates. So there is this available where you can be able to check in terms of how you can better manage your finances. So once again, thank you so much for taking the time. And then I'm happy to have us engage. And then if you've got questions, comments, I also love to hear your stories and how you are better managing your finances. I'm available, Mulalo at empowerx.co.za. And my numbers are there, 083-261-0700. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand over to you so that we can have this conversation, and then people share about their experiences with money, and also share about how we can work together to build wealth and also create value for the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mulalo. That was very much informative. I want to open the platform now for people who are attending, just to then see if there are questions, if there's someone who wants to get clarity on certain things that you've presented, or if there's anyone who has a comment. Colleagues, I am officially opening the platform now. Let's see, I see there's hand from Treeman. You'll be the first one. Please take the floor.
Thank you so much, Chair. I don't know if maybe I have missed a point from the presentation. You'll forgive me, I'm currently driving, but I want to understand how can one rebuild their credit score, and also to understand if it's possible for one to be able to differentiate, or maybe a financial institution when you are in a situation of applying for funding, is it possible for the financial institution to separate the individual and the company, so that maybe they can be we can be considered for funding? Because I think I was disadvantaged in number of times in terms of having my profile being linked to my company. I thank you.
Mulalo, did you get that? Mulalo? I think we have lost Mulalo. I wanted to check if she got Mr. Kanchi's question. Let me try get hold of her and see if she is able to hear us. Mulalo, are you able to hear us? Colleagues, are you able to hear me? Because I might assume that it's Mulalo is having a problem. Kanti is me. I see she's joining. Mulalo, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I got disconnected from the laptop, so let me just use my phone. I think I got the first part of the question around managing your credit score and then building that up, but I didn't get the second part. If you can just rephrase the second part for me.
Mr. Kanchi, are you able to then repeat the second part of your question?
Thank you.
Yeah. Are you able to repeat the second question? Because she got the first one.
Oh, thanks. I was busy talking, thinking I have unmuted. Yeah, my second question was to understand if it's possible for one to separate themselves from their company as they're applying for some fundings, because there are situations where you find that you want to apply for something and you are being used as an excluding factor from getting a certain funding because of your poor credit score. Thank you.
Mulalo, maybe you can take those two from Kanchi, then we'll go to Dumisani, and then I'll read the one on the chat.
Okay, thank you very much. I wanted to push the second one to you because we were together last month when this was also discussed about businesses and personal credit scores. But coming to the first question, in order to maintain and build your credit credit score. It's all about ensuring that you pay on time, and then you also make sure that when there is something or changes, you do notify that there are changes, because things can happen, and if you don't communicate and that's not taken into consideration, it might affect you negatively. So it's all about ensuring that that relationship, because it's a relationship, so we must make sure that we maintain that relationship. Coming to the aspect of you applying for something and then being excluded because of your personal credit score, this is something that we know that there is no credit score for businesses, so they use your personal credit score to be able to make those particular judgments. So unfortunately, at this point, you won't be able to exclude yourself, because though the company is a different entity, there is still institutions that would want to check who is the person behind this and how are they going to manage the finances for the business, because that's a story of how you manage funds. And then even if it's on an organization, it's still your story. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's then, Mr. Kanchi, are you satisfied?
Maybe to just seek more clarity, I wanted to know how to rebuild, not to build, to rebuild. Like we are talking about someone who is maybe blacklisted or under review. Now they want to rebuild the score. That was the question.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarity. In terms of rebuilding, there's people that would assist in that regard, in terms of ensuring that if you are under debt review, the process comes to completion. So you would still need to pay your credits. And then once you have paid, then when there is confirmation of settlement, then that gets submitted, and then your name gets removed from debt review. Some of the credit bureaus, they do give tips in terms of how you can rebuild. However, some would want to get you more into debt. So it's critical that you check what is working for you in those options that are available, because they would even tell you that if you take this, you would move up this score, and then that can assist you to rebuild. But just be cautious to ensure that you don't end up more in debt thinking you are rebuilding and you are digging yourself deeper into debt.
Thank you so much, Mulalo. Let's then move to Dumisani. Dumisani, you can take the floor.
All right. Good afternoon, and thank you very much for this session. It's been very informative. I just wanted to touch on the issue of the investment side. You spoke of the retirement annuities. I want to find out, I'm currently not in any form of business. I'm an employee with a full pension fund. And then I've been investing in a retirement annuity. And at the moment, the amount of money that I'm paying on the RA is almost equivalent to what I'm paying on with my employer and myself on a pension fund. I just wanted to find out from you, would it be advisable to reduce, because there's other debts that need to be serviced? Would it be wise for me to reduce the amount of money that I'm actually putting into the RA and then take that money and put it into maybe restructuring or paying off some of the debt that is there, so that in future I may have maybe some money to clear up? Would that have a negative impact on my future outcomes in terms of the retirement annuity and my retirement planning? And then also looking at the issue of your unit trusts, what would you advise would be best? Unit trusts versus government bonds versus maybe keeping just an RA? Thank you very much.
Okay, let's get if she got the questions before you leave the platform to Dumisani. Mulalo, do you get the questions?
Yes, I did get the questions. If I need more clarity, then I would request for that clarity. But let me start with the first one on retirement planning. So when we do retirement planning, we do projections that will tell us how much you need at retirement, and then we work backwards to say how much you should be contributing towards your retirement. So when you invest or when you save for retirement, there is certain deductions. That's what makes retirement annuities and pension fund attractive, because the contributions, you're able to deduct them when you do your return. It's just the government's way of ensuring that you are saving towards your retirement. So it's critical that you check the percentages that are being contributed. I know they allow you to deduct up to 27.5% of your contributions. And then you must check how much the employer is contributing and also how much you are contributing to your retirement annuity, and then be able to make that particular decision. I think this question was also linked to the second one, where you are asking whether to look at unit trust, to look at retirement annuities and other products like your retail savings bonds. So it's just a matter of checking, where am I getting the best return for my investment? Because if you compare the interest rate that is being offered, I know the government bonds are offering very attractive rates at less risk that you are investing your money on. And then when it comes to retirement annuity, they are giving you deductions where the money is growing, and then you can also claim your deductions when you do your returns. And then when it comes to unit trust, different unit trusts have different returns. So depending on which unit trust in particular you're investing in, you'll be able to see the returns that you're getting. And also an understanding of the exemptions that are available in terms of interest in line with how old you are, makes it easier as well for you to make the decision. But like I said, when we started, this is purely information session. We're not giving advice. So even my responses here, it's not advice, because one would need to first look at what are the numbers saying, and also look at your situation and different circumstances, taking your goals and needs into account, because it could be similar question, but for someone saying, I'm going to repay my debt, we don't know what kind of debt, how much that debt is costing you. So it becomes difficult to just say on this platform to say reduce your RA and pay off debt, or to say continue saving for retirement and then deal with debt later. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dumisani, do you have any follow-up, or you are satisfied for now?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. Ndayadzo, can we have you on the floor?
Thank you, Chair, for the platform. I wanted to touch base on the retirement issue, but I think I'm answered now, because I had an issue, or I had a problem with the financial advisor with regards to my retirement annuity, because apparently I was paying more. I didn't know about the 27.5% of the limit. So I wanted clarity on that part, or how is it possible that I'm paying more than the required? So that's answered. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ndayadzo. So there is a question from, I think it's Kaheso. It's Pokisho, sorry. Good day. I have two questions. The first one, how can one juggle black tax and also try to stay clear from a bad credit record? That's the first one. And the second one is, and also with the new two ports coming to play, how can one use that to try to grow their investment? Mulalo?
Can you repeat the second part of the question?
And also with the new two ports into play,
Okay.
how can one use that to try to grow their investment?
Okay, thank you very much for that.
It's on the chat
black
box.
tax.
It's on the chat box if you want to read it more. It's on the chat
Yes,
box.
I just saw it now. Black tax. I think even with that one, it depends on how much they're taxing you, and also I always ask myself, is it tax or is it a responsibility? Because some people, when they start working, it's like it's a given. You are supposed to take care of the family. You are supposed to build a house for them. You're supposed to take the kids to school as well. And every month, there's money that goes home. So other people do it out of obligation. Other people do it because they want to. So you also need to look at your specific situation and then what this money is going for. Could be something that could help in terms of how do we move away from this black text, because sometimes it could be black text for other people's wants instead of their needs. So it's critical that we check whether this black text is going towards needs or wants, and then if it's something that the conversation can happen with the family members so that they understand that you also have your goals and dreams that you want to achieve, and also you have got expenses that you need to cover on a month-to-month basis. But every time when it comes to sending money to family, I always say ensure that the money is accompanied by a conversation, because that conversation will help you understand whether the money is going to needs or wants, or it's enabling more credit to happen. Because there's even parents that get into debt knowing that their kids are going to bail them out. So have the money conversation so that you can better understand how this tax is structured. With the new two-pot system, that's more on the retirement space, where they are allowing you to see that there's always been two different pots that you can open and others that you'll only be able to open at retirement. And then they didn't allow you to open both, though there were two even before. But with that, it's a tricky one, because money saved for retirement should be used for retirement. And then when you say that you want to use that to grow the investment, it will be good to check this investment that you're looking at, how is it doing return-wise compared to where the money is currently sitting and how it is growing. So it's just a matter of comparing, maybe more clarity in terms of how this growing investment is referring to, because the way that I'm understanding it, you want to take the money out and then invest it somewhere so that it grows. Or was it a different view in terms of growing investments?
Thank you, Mulalo. I think the last one on the chat box, it's from Tandaza, who is saying, but she's then saying if it's possible, do you have the service providers that one can use to take retirement with? That's the first one. And the second one is to just check, because she's saying then I have a life cover with Liberty and heard that it is an insurance company, not for investments. I've been paying them for close to 10 years now. What is your response on this?
As I ran away from these two questions, so there's different service providers that you can look at when it comes to retirement planning. It's just a matter of having someone take you through their funds, because the most important thing is the funds. The retirement product is the same throughout. So the rules that govern a retirement annuity that is sitting with the company that you've mentioned and also with other different companies are the same. So same rules throughout, but what's important, like I said, when I said you must know where your money is sleeping, you must know where exactly or which funds are being selected, because we might speak of a particular service provider, but if the funds are invested on a fund that is low risk, low return, there's no way that your investment is going to grow as much as somebody who is on the same or a different service provider, but they've managed to take a little bit more risk, and then now they're getting a little bit more when it comes to returns. So you must also be able to do that risk profiling. So every time you about to take one of the products, your financial advisor should take you through the journey of risk profiling, understand how much risk you are able to take, so that they can be able to see how much returns you need and then match you with the product that will help you sleep at night and also help you achieve the returns that you're looking for. With the life cover, okay, so there is companies that focus purely on investments, and then there's companies that do both, and then there's some that just focus on risk, and then it's still the same. So you could have a company that is focusing on both, having a product that is giving returns which are better than a company that is just focusing on one of the two. So it's a matter of understanding how much do I expect to get and which fund can give me what I want, because there's insurance companies that are giving better returns on some of their funds. I don't want to say, yeah, like a political party thing when they say this and this and this focuses on investments. So you must make sure that your investments are with those big three. Yeah, but it's a give and take, because you could be having a retirement annuity or investment with one of the insurance companies and you understand how it works, and then you see the growth and then you are happy with it.
Thank you so much, Mulalo. I see even Tandaza is saying thank you. You have explained it very well. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you from the Universal Greening Organization that has the Universal Greening Network. We started this session exactly at 4 o'clock. Our plan is to finish at 5 o'clock. We thank you so much for your time. We thank you so much for your contribution. I want to check with you, Mulalo. Do you consult if I want to come to you individually for you to assist me at a cost? Do you have such, and how does it work?
Yes, we do offer consultations on financial planning and also walk the coaching journey with some of our clients, because some people just need that reminder on a month-to-month basis. So our consultation fee at the moment is 1,000 Rand an hour. And then if you need to consult, you can also do a session for 30 minutes at 500. Those are the two options that are available. And then for someone who's saying we want to do this on a monthly basis, we've recently started a coaching mentorship that's focusing on finances, where we look at a specific item and then we do the activities and exercise. So that goes at 250 a month. So those are the services that we offer when it comes to walking the financial journey with our clients. So it could be a one-on-one consultation. It could be this group coaching that we do on a month-to-month basis. So that's what we are offering. We also do trainings for different groups. So if someone is interested to do financial literacy, tailored content to their audience, can be in your workplaces, within communities, we're happy to structure the session to speak to what you want to focus on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And maybe just one last time, how do we get to you? How do we reach out to you?
I'm available on 083-261-0700. So these numbers are available everywhere. It's on calls and WhatsApp, 083-261-0700. And then on social media, it's Mulalo, Nemataheni, or EmpowerX Advisory Services. You would be able to reach us. And then, yeah, we are looking forward to doing this, because for us, it's purely taking financial literacy education to communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just one last round of applause for such a wonderful work that you're doing. We are happy, and we must also disclose, colleagues, was done free of charge. We were not charged any cent. So she committed to come and do this for us. And we are happy to have you, Mulalo. We're looking forward. Okay, it looks like there's one last hand. I'm just going to take that one last hand and then we close the session. Where is that hand again? I saw there's one person who raised their hand, and you don't want to let people leave with, that particular question. Do we have that hand, or it was just someone pressing it wrongly? It looks like it was a mistake, but thank you so much, colleagues. We are now officially closing this session. We want to thank each and every member who attended. We're looking forward to host more sessions, and you must come and attend. We're going to share different information. Today, we focused on financial literacy. Just to remind you, we are an environmental entity that assists organizations in the environmental space, but we believe that as much as we are doing environmental programs where we do education and awareness, we implement CSI for different corporates, we do project management, we do skills development. We believe that as much as you do those, you also need the soft skills like financial literacy so that you are able to run your programs efficiently. Colleagues, I want to officially close this meeting. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.